I'm going to end with this. We put out to our community that we do this march every year. Some fool on next door said something about, oh my God, another traffic jam. Like it's inconvenient. And I can't help it. Murder is inconvenient. Thank you. The death of a child is inconvenient. Standing up for no life changing. Was everybody coming together, standing up for our community, standing up for the rights of children, and creating the type of community through which our children can be proud of.
What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday, y'all. It is another week, another Thursday with Ivy Nicole, and this is Vlogs. If you are following me, I don't know where you watch it from because I am live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So just go to ivynicole.com and you can follow me across all social media platforms. Is it still Mental Health Awareness Month? Yes, it is still Mental Health Awareness Month. We only have a few more days left in this month to actually acknowledge mental health awareness. But today I want to actually hit on what has been plaguing our community for so long, and that's gun violence, right? It's so many issues surrounding gun violence, and it's always not a socioeconomic problem. It is an American problem. So today we are actually we just gonna jump right into it because I never waste time on getting to the subject. So of course, always ladies first. I got Sherry Griffin on.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
So introduce yourself. Let everybody know who you are. We got to get all of your business for a minute.
All of my business. Well, my name is Sherry Griffin Scott. I'm a chaplain with the International Police and Fire Chaplain Association. I'm also a member of Church of the Messiah. Um, I'm a grandma of 15 children. My daughter got killed at River Rouge Park, August 3rd, 2019. I've always been a part of the Silence the Violence parades up at Church of Messiah, supporting ending gun violence and supporting families that have lost their family members due to gun violence.
Okay, thank you for being here. And Byron, introduce yourself. Let's get all of your business so people know who you are.
All right. Well, my name is Byron Goggin. I've lived in Detroit for about 40 years now. I had to move away during the crash. So I had moved away for about 10 years and I moved to LA to do work for Discovery and National Geographic. And so basically what my gig is I'm a documentarian. And I guess, Nicole, the way that we met is down at Church of the Messiah because I'm doing a documentary on gun violence amongst youth. And that's kind of my story. So, yeah, it's really been an eye-opener and an impactful thing. And it's just really amazing, tragic, sad, and shocking, all the things that are going on within this, within it.
So it's so many things to kind of uncover and unpack right now when we're talking about gun violence in America. It's not a Detroit thing. We all know it happened in the suburbs too. It's an American problem. But we will meet next Saturday, which is the 4th, at Church of the Messiah to actually march and to honor the innocent victims of gun violence. So Byron, I guess I can kind of start with you. How long have you been working on this documentary?
Well, I've been working on the documentary itself has been being shot for 3 years. I came into it 6 months ago to put it together. The way documentaries work, people go out and they film things, and that takes quite a while. And it's such a big problem. It's such a wide and encompassing issue. Like you say, this isn't just a Detroit problem. It's not just an inner city problem. It's an American problem. It happens in every city across the United States. If you go through the web and like Google it, whether you go to Tampa or Atlanta or even Minnesota, places that you would never think of. It's all the same thing. If you look under children being killed by guns, you're going to get an endless list of it. So it's going on all over the place. And so I've been working on this for about 6 months. Like I say, I came down to the Church of Messiah because Charlie LaDuff, who used to work for Channel 2, knew Barry and suggested that I talk to him, and actually had interviewed him for part of the documentary. And I needed to follow up with Barry. And so ended up down at the Church of Messiah, met him, met all you, and I've been coming to the church ever since. So I love what the church stands for, what Barry stands for, and what every one of you stand for down there.
Thank you. So Sherry, I want to kind of pivot to you right now. So you've been attending the Silence the Violence March.
Yes. And the last time that the church had it at the church, the Silence the Violence parade at the church, my daughter, who got murdered at River Rouge, was actually there. She's actually in some of the film that was recorded. Actually saying silence the violence, and she's walking with her kids. And a couple of months later, she was gunned down at the park. But I've been coming there. I'm actually a band mom as well. And the band would come under a fire band that's under Joey Donaldson. They were part of the Silence the Violence parade, and my daughters were dancers. So that's how I got drawn into it and coming to the Church of the Messiah. And I've been coming ever since.
So this is also personal, because I think we all have this experience. Most people know someone, whether they're a friend, a family member, a friend of a friend, who have been killed due to gun violence. So would that be fair to say that this is not just a march, but it's personal as well?
Well, yes, absolutely. Well, like I've said, my daughter was murdered at the park 2019, and I had two nephews that were gunned down in the city of Chicago in less than 24 hours, and they both were brothers. That has left my niece. Those are her kids. She's just left her in a total mess. Left her in an awesome mental state, I can say. You know, people can say, oh, it'll be okay, but this is something you don't recover from. You probably can get through it, but you don't get over it.
Yeah.
That's
So,
what I
it seems as though like this is a whole different level of grieving when you lose
Absolutely.
a child to gun violence. That's a whole different level.
Yeah, yes. Actually, because, you know, right now I'm still dealing with her kids, and they have problems going to the park. My daughter has a problem going to the park. You know, you don't know if you're going to come back home. They don't know. So they still deal with mental issues. The younger children want to know where their mother is. You could try to explain it, but they don't understand it. You know, okay, so that happened. So when's she coming back? You know, that's how they are, and you got to deal with that. Then also her fiance she left behind. It's so messed up. People don't realize those choices you make can affect a family or a generation for the rest of their lives. For the rest, these kids no longer have a mother. I no longer have my daughter. She never got a chance to walk down the aisle. She was planning a wedding. You know, it's just a lot of stuff. It's a lot a person or a family has to handle or try to get through on a daily basis, because it doesn't stop. It never stops. The pain never stops.
Byron, do you want to add to that?
Just seems to me more often lately that you're right. it never stops. The pain never stops, but the violence isn't stopping either. It's only getting worse. I was looking at a statistic because I'm constantly going through the statistics, because the sad part is I'm working on this, and as I go month by month, there's just more and more and more people being killed every day. And the latest statistic, it just came out last month, that guns now kill more children and young adults than car crashes, cancer, and overdoses combined. I mean, really? It's the number one cause of death amongst children. Not just black children, white children, all children under the age of 17. Like, that's unbelievable. And it's not slowing down. Like, if you look at the graphs about it, like, I know where we talk about feelings and all that, but like, if you really get down to the brass tacks, you look at the graphs, like firearms were going like this, the deaths. And when we hit 2019, it just goes like this. And it's unbelievable. And it's not getting any better. And everybody keeps asking themselves the question, why? And it's not just one answer. Right? That's what I'm finding, because as we're doing this documentary and we're telling the stories and we're digging deeper, it's not just like angry people. It's not just people who have mental issues who are out there. It's socioeconomic issues. It's people being scared of one another. It's social media driven. There's so many reasons why it's going on. And I don't know what can beat it. Like, I really don't. And I don't mean to have a defeatist attitude, but like, we're all like looking to the government and politics to fix something. But like, I don't think that that's it at all. Like, I think that we all need to look to ourselves, to our own children, to the communities that we're in, to the churches and all that, because politics, they're not doing anything. They're just bickering about whatever, and money drives all that. You're not going to get anybody to take guns away. You're not going to get any kind of regulation after Sandy Hook happened, and I know that there's a big difference. Like, so mass shootings are generally white people, right? And mass shootings get all the attention. Why? Because those kids take out like 14, 15 kids at a time or whatever. It's like big news. But the fact of the matter is, like, that gets all the news, but the people being shot in neighborhoods every day far outweigh mass shootings. Mass shootings are just the tip of the iceberg. It's like almost nothing compared to what the communities in Detroit and Atlanta and wherever are going through on a daily basis. And talking to Pastor Barry, he says, you know why it's like big news now? He says, because it's come out of the hood and now it's in the suburbs, right? That's why it's getting the attention, but it's not getting the attention in politics. I mean, we've all seen that. We can invite all the politicians and do all that, but I'm kind of not feeling like that's doing anything. How about you guys? Do you feel like politics is doing anything for you?
Nope. As soon as you get a certain age, what is it, like 18? Oh, you can go buy a gun. They don't know who you are. They don't know really what you're capable of. So you pass a background check. Now you get a gun. What about stuff that was missed? We don't know what's really wrong with a person. You don't get really down to why do you even want a gun? So we're going to buy a gun. Why are we buying a gun? Why is it to protect ourselves? Are we scared? Or did we just go buy a gun because we want to go shoot up a school? Or we want to go have it so that person I was arguing with, they come up on me again, I'm going to shoot them? Why are we going to buy the gun? Why do we need a gun in our household? And why is it all the little kids, they always playing like my grandkids, pow, pow, pow. And it really irks me because I'm constantly saying, stop pretending like y'all shooting people. That's how your mother died. Stop doing it. I could say stop all day, and then they turn on a video, and the first thing that's glorified from the music they listen to is a gun or guns with an S. and people are pointing them, glorifying, I'm gonna kill somebody, I'm gonna kill your mama. These songs, you know, is the media is so much that's irritating me now. And I'm like, why? Why? Do they really understand that a lot of people really think this stuff is real? A rapper's life is for real. This is for real. I shot a couple of people last night. Oh, well, I'm going to go shoot a couple of people tonight because the song said so. You know? And I'm like, why? That's my why. Why are we putting this kind of music in our neighborhoods? Why are our kids listening to this? Why are the parents playing this for the kids? Why are we feeling so much negativity in our neighborhood? Why? Why are we helping the devil win? He came to steal, kill, and destroy. That's the problem. It's the devil being glorified in one way or another. Because that's what he came to do. Kill, steal, and destroy by any means necessary. And that is really what's going on. So how do we get everybody, or our kids, the parents, the grandparents, somebody, the leaders, we got to get something in their heads. This has to stop. The narrative has to change. You know, let's glorify happiness, something beautiful. You know, let's glorify reading a book about something positive. We got to get some more positivity in there. Let's be able to teach a trade to somebody so they won't have to sell drugs on the corner. You know, stop giving ex-cons such a hard time to get a job so they can feed their families or feed themselves. And they won't have to go back to living a life of crime. The narrative has to change. That's really what it is. It has to change. And if it starts with one person or one community, something has to change, because this is tiring. Every time you turn the news on, somebody then got killed. You know, it make you not want to turn the news on. I hadn't watched the news in 3 weeks because I got tired of killing. Every morning I turned the news on, there was killing. As soon as I turned it back on the other day, there was a mass shooting. Mm-hmm. You know, this has to change. That's basically it. The narrative has to change. We have to come together to figure out how to change the narrative, period. City by city, community by community, let's change the narrative.
So I don't know if you know the statistic on it, but once every 36 seconds here in the United States, somebody under the age of 18 is shot. That's what we're looking at right now. That's what we're looking at. And, you know, society is just kind of like, okay. And it makes the news and it makes its big run. I mean, here in Michigan, we had Oxford. If we're going to talk about, like, you know, the mass shootings that get all the press, how long was that story around for? Week? Then we're on to the next thing. And
we're on to the next.
And the shootings in the neighborhoods, like, all right, makes the 11 o'clock news. They might not even follow it up the next morning. It's just here and gone and then on to the next thing, just as quick as can be. I mean, there's never any kind of follow-up on it. There's never any kind of real story about it. It's just the shock value. So-and-so was shot. Now they're dead. Now let's go to the weather. Oh, what a beautiful day today, right? Like, hey, if you're going to bring a story about a kid being shot, tell the story. Tell what happened. How did he get in that position, or he or she get in that position, right? What is it that they were doing so they can warn the next people not to do it? Maybe there is no warning. I don't know, but just to be like, oh yeah, 3-year-old was shot the other day, and then they don't say anything more about it. There was in this documentary, one of the stories that we covered was, and you might have heard of it, Christian Miller, C.J. Miller was his name. And basically the story is the aunt was driving him to go see Elmo. And they stopped at a stoplight, the person in front of him, the light turned green, the guy didn't see it go, she honked the horn. He got mad, and had his girlfriend lean back in the seat, and he shot her. He shot the car through the door and killed the baby in the back seat, 3-year-old kid, right? So we hear about that on the news, but we didn't hear the whole story. We just heard about CJ Miller in the news and how awful it is and the tragedy of the 3-year-old going to see Elmo. But what did that whole story really came to? Like, we rang that out, we followed it. That went on for literally 2 years. So it went to trial. It was a slam dunk case. I mean, they had a witness. The guy turned himself into the police. The woman identified the guy who was in the car. The baby was shot. Like, they had it on cameras, right? Mistrial. Because one of the people in the jury said, I don't want to see you. I'll just say it. They didn't want to see another black man go to jail, right? But what does that solve? What does it solve? All right, we don't want another black man to go to jail, but like, did that solve anything? So now the family has to deal with absolutely nothing, right? They got no justice. That little boy got no justice for his life. So they retried the trial. And that didn't work. It was a mistrial. Had to go to trial 3 times before it finally got solved. It took 2 years in a slam dunk case. So you have a case out there where, because the police are overworked, whatever your opinion of the police is, there's not enough of them. They're overworked, right? They get what I think it's the average of 11 cases a day that they have to deal with. So everything falls through the cracks. So stuff doesn't get solved, right? People don't trust the police. And of course, I agree, there's reasoning for that, right? But
Right.
Here's the problem in it all. Like, if all of that happens and all of that is going on, how does it ever end? How is there ever any justice for anybody? How is there ever any punishment? Or how is there ever a deterrent in the problem? If nobody's worried about going to jail, if nobody's worried about like whatever, then it's open season, right? And where does it end? Where does it end? So if we can't count on the police and we can't count on politics, like I said at the beginning, we all need to start looking at ourselves and what we can do personally, as parents, as communities, in our churches, and just everybody doing it that way. We can't rely on other people. You know, that's my opinion. I don't know. What do you guys think?
So Ken RN, he just put in the chat, he said gun violence, I'm guessing, is a byproduct of a failed system to notice and treat mental illness. My guns never killed the damn person. You know, have the mental health system failed? You know,
I think so.
as it pertains to guns and who's able to get a gun, who has possession of guns. You know, like, yeah, it's to notice the failed mental illness, right? So what was it, just maybe like a month ago when the guy walked into Teen Wellness and killed the security guard?
Yeah. But even if you can't go to a gun shop and buy a gun, they still get the guns on the street.
They on the street. So like, what type of laws, you know, is it that going to stop people from killing people? You know, and Byron, you mentioned earlier, as it relates to the politicians and, you know, what are the laws? What's on the floor out, you know, up in Lansing? Like, what's up? You know,
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about Lobby Day. And Sherry, you didn't go to Lobby Day, did you?
No, I had to work that day.
Okay, so let's kind of talk about Lobby Day, because you were funny. Byron he was not fucking around.
Yeah, I got a little hot water over that.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not fucking around. I mean, you're right. I'm not fucking around. I'm there for a reason, right? I'm there for a reason. Like, this shit has got to stop. It has to. It has to stop. And if I have the impression that our political leaders, the very people that we elect and that we trust to do something for us, are shitting on us, that's a problem. It's a real problem, you know? And as it turns out, I have to say, I made a mistake. Turns out that the woman really did have a sick child. So basically what happened is we all got there and we're standing outside the door, and then we just heard the announcement that the person isn't going to come to meet us. And it sounded pretty fishy, especially the way that the assistant delivered the message. It could have been delivered much better. You agree with that, Ivory? Or Ivy? Yeah. Did you believe it at first? No. So anyway, which is a learning lesson for me, but like I've been around the block a few times and usually I can sniff that out. But I think maybe she was just trying to protect herself in the long and the short of it. But anyway, what I admired about all that, the way it went down, is the way that all of the people from the Church of the Messiah handled it. I didn't handle it as well. I wanted somebody to be there for us. I mean, if we took an hour and a half bus ride trip and people got up at 6:30 in the morning to be on a bus to talk to their legislators who promised to be there to talk to us, that they should be there, right? I mean, that's the reality of it. But you guys handled it fantastically. And the result was, is you managed to get her on the phone and had her listen. And I think at least they listened, right? Like I can't say it did anything, but at least they listened. And there you go.
Yeah. As of now, what was it? I think it was 4 bills that was on the floor that we was actually, discussing safety. How do you store it? What was it? No guns in the Capitol, which should have already been a thing. In my opinion.
Safety locks, mental.
Safety locks.
Waiting for the mental screening to come back, right? Whatever. Yeah.
I forget what it was, the extreme risk protection.
Yeah.
Whereas if a person deems to be a threat to themselves or others, then they had a right to go in and take their gun. But my question is, what happens next? Is there some type of psyche valve done, or the guns just confiscated? Because if you just take the guns and the person is still there, I mean, they could go get another gun or something else to do what they need to do. If they really want to hurt someone or themselves, they'll find a way.
There's a couple things about that, and it's scattered. So, like in 2020, I'm looking at a stat over here on my computer. In 2020, there was 103 million firearms sold in our country. 103 million in 2020. In June of 2021, 2.5 million. Almost double. From the period of 2016 to 2020, it went from 1.2 million to 1.3 million. So that's in a 4-year period, it gained 100,000. But in less than a year, it went up 1.2 million. That's buying guns legally. First question is why? Why were that many guns bought in that period of time? Because it directly correlates with, if you look at the same graphs, I don't mean to be like a graph guy, but sometimes it means stuff. If you look at the graphs, that increase in sales directly is related to the increase in gun fatalities amongst kids, right? It directly correlates itself. So you have that. And then I heard on the radio yesterday that from Sandy Hook, which was the first time they actually shot elementary school children in a mass shooting, right? There has not been one federal law changed in this country. Not one. Not one federal law changed after they shot up elementary school kids. How is that possible? How is that even possible? And we're not talking about, oh, taking guns away from people. I'm so tired of that argument. It's just so tired. It's like that could never happen in this country. If you really think about it, if you run it back, how would that work? All right, the cops come, they go to the first house on the block, and they go in there like, we want all your guns. By the time they got to the third house, the fifth house, you know, there'd be a civil war in the streets, right? You're not going to, so like, I don't even want to hear that thing about people trying to come take guns. Let's not waste our time with that argument. What we really need to do is figure out safe gun laws, like what we went and talked about in Lansing, right? Like, I think that those are good things. Trigger locks, you know, mental screenings, things that make sense, right? And we can do all that, and that will help. But then again, then we look at how, like amongst people where it happens all the time, where are they getting their guns? They're not going to Target, or not Target, but like the local whatever, and picking up a gun. They're stealing it out of a car, or they shoot somebody and they take their gun, right? Or they steal it out of a friend's house, or they find it under a bed, right? Like, they're not like legally bought weapons. So, like, while I think gun laws will help, and we should have gun laws, smart, safe gun laws, again, it goes back to the community. Parents need to think about locking up their guns. Like, if you got kids in the house, put trigger locks on it, you know? I mean, it's simple things like that. If you know, Ivy, if you know somebody who's mentally, you know, whatever, because you're in that industry, and you know that they have a gun, like, you feel like you should be saying something. You know, I'm not calling you out. I'm just saying in general, like, my next door neighbor's a nut, and he's out waving his gun around. Like I should probably say something, not just wait until he's done it.
Mm.
Does that make sense? I don't know. Just rambling.
Yeah, it does make sense. I think that we ignore that part though, as it pertains to guns or gun laws, because again, people are not just going to buy guns legally. There's a lot of illegal guns. It's a lot of unmarked guns.
Yep.
Out here, you know, but I do want to kind of shift the conversation a little bit, as we talk about the problems, the issues, the solution. What about the healing process, the healing after you've lost someone? Because you can have the best of the laws in the nation, right? And these laws are not going to benefit your sanity when you lose a loved one. It's not. So how do you get past that? How do you heal from that? Do you heal? Is it a constant healing?
Well, for me, I mean, you don't get over it. You take it day by day. And it's not just my healing, because I have to deal with my kids. I have to deal with my daughter's kids. I have to deal with her fiance. I mean, there's so many people that was just affected. And the day that my daughter got killed, I had 2 daughters out there and almost all of my grandkids. So I had one daughter running, and she was trying to get all the kids. I had my Frankie had her twin sister out there. She was giving her CPR, trying to save her life. It was so much going on. So Francesca's twin sister, she maybe about once or twice a month, she comes by and she blames herself for inviting her sister to the park, and she feels like it's all her fault. So we have to deal with that. She feels like nobody loves her. And we blame her, and I keep telling her, reassuring her, I don't blame her for anything. She didn't put a gun in that man's head. She didn't tell him to shoot anybody. She didn't cause what happened at the park, but we have to deal with helping her on a daily basis. Then maybe I can say just about every month, her fiance, he's left with the 7 kids. He's still dealing with something. He goes through his thing. Man, it's crazy. It's really hard. It really is hard. It's hard on all of us as a whole because the closer it gets to a holiday, she was the one that did all the cooking. So everybody looks to me to do the job that she did. I'm not her. I did it way back when, but I got so used to my daughter doing it till, you know, I just don't have it in me because that's something she did. She put everything together every holiday like it was nothing. Worked double shifts and still had everything together. Now everybody looks to her or nobody wants to celebrate. You know, it's hard coming together. It's hard celebrating. It's hard looking at her kids because we all see her. And it's like we miss her. We miss her a lot. You see her kids, you miss her. You listen to the kids asking for their mama. It brings on, it takes a toll on our mental. It just takes a big toll. And it's every day. It's like we have to renew ourselves every day, gain some strength to start the day again. That's how it is. Let's gain some strength. Let's start the day again. Grandma, where's my mama? Is she in the sky? Is she in the clouds? When's she gonna come off the airplane? And so I'm trying to explain to little kids that their mama is not coming off the airplane. She's not in the airplane. She's with God. Well, now they want to go with God because they want to go visit their mom. Then I got the baby that she was saving at the time. Now she's asking for her mama. Why I don't have a mama? Why my mama don't come see me? And she's only 2. So I'm looking at a 2-year-old like, man, well, she's asking me some deep stuff. And I have to explain to her that she's not quite understanding, but she's listening. So I'm hoping one day she understands. Your mother had to go away with Jesus. You know, you had to make up something good. She had to go away with Jesus to become an angel so she could help other little kids and watch over you. And they say, okay, but they don't really understand. And I have one grandchild, she stays in the basement. She rarely comes out the basement. She rarely comes out the house for fear. It's really fear. Fear of going out, I'm going to get killed. And then if they hear a story about a kid getting killed and they never left their house, that's adding more fear. How did a little kid get killed in their front room? Yeah, it happens. They got shot. Somebody was shooting, a little kid got shot in their front room. That's more fear. So you don't get over it. You don't never really stop explaining. You never stop explaining. My job is crazy because now I got to keep explaining and I'm still hurting myself. I can't say that I'm over it. I'm not going to get over it. I get through it every day. I get through it. I put on a whole new face so these kids can see, well, if grandma can be strong, I can gain me some strength to it. I can be strong. You know, if my daddy's strong, then I can be strong. Some days he gives up. He calls me and I just talk to him. I'm like, hey, kids don't have a mama. All they got is you. And if they lose you, I don't know. That's a whole new problem, you know? And then my daughter, she has anxiety attacks. I can't make her go do something. You know, I talk to her, calm her down. I'm like, look, you don't have to go to the park. You don't have to do this event. You don't have to do that. It's okay. It's okay because she has flashbacks of that day when my daughter got shot. You know, they can run it right by you, just like it just happened yesterday. You know, so you don't. It's a pain that nobody should ever experience. It's not like you lost somebody to an illness. They were taken away because of someone else's actions. You know, and you don't get over it. It's a healing process every day. Like I said, my niece, she called, one of her sons was in the hospital. He had got shot because somebody else did something. So they wanted to kill a family member since they couldn't find that person. So they killed my nephew and they killed his cousin that was with him. In less than 24 hours, my nephew's brother was killed, which is my other nephew. Now my niece, one day she seemed normal. Next day she's not normal. You know, you don't know. It's and I talked to her, but what can you really say to a person? I can't reassure her that everything is going to be all right, because everything is not all right. Because every day somebody's getting killed. That same situation continues. People use guns for the wrong reasons, or they use a gun because somebody stepped on their shoe. I'm gonna shoot you. You didn't move fast enough. I'm gonna shoot you. They don't. They. It's the choices.
Why you ate my pizza?
It's the choices they make that affects a person's life, a family, these children, how these children are going to be raised. Their father, some days he don't know what to do, and he calls on me. Maybe I don't know either. I fake it. You know, I try to say the best thing that I can. You know, and I try to show them all love. I'm trying to teach them this is love. I love you. Hug them, kiss them. I tell them these hugs and kisses come from your mama. Your mother told me to do this. How'd she tell you? I said, because she whispered it in my ear last night. She told me to say, I love you and give you a hug and a kiss. So these kids, maybe I can save them a little, you know, because they all saw what happened to their parent. They all saw it. You know, I'm just saying, I mean, you don't get over it. It's a healing process every day. And every day I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we'll have a good day. Then maybe we won't. Maybe the day will end good. Maybe it won't. I don't know who's going to pick up a phone and call me because they didn't had an anxiety attack or they scared, they're crying. Grandma, we heard shots. Grandma, we heard this. We scared. That's why I said these music videos, this music industry, all this extra stuff that they putting out here glorifying these weapons and killing people has to stop too. It has to stop. That should not be glorified in no kind of way. Period. It shouldn't be. That's just my opinion. Guys, sorry. Took too long.
Not too long at all.
No, never that. You know, because back in 2010, my uncle was killed out in Flint. And I remember I was driving and my mother called me, and it literally took me a couple of days to process what she said. Because I was like, man, what did you just say? He was home and his wife came home and found him dead on the kitchen floor. He had been shot in his back and he was dead.
Wow.
The bullet
Sorry.
came through the window.
Mm.
And that was that. You know, no one knows if, you know, the person was ever caught, if we ever got justice. I mean, we didn't. It just, you know, it was in 2010.
The person that shot my daughter still hasn't been caught either. It was a park full of people and no one wants to let us know who did it. So I don't even understand that part. I don't understand that at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, and, as we kind of fast forward a little bit, that's why the Silence the Violence March is so important. You gather, you get your signs, you get your t-shirts, and you march. Mary, can you give us like just a little history of it, as you can remember? Because what year is this? Number like 13, somewhere around there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't really know how long. I just know I've been doing it since I moved back from Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when my daughter said we're doing Silence to Violence, since I was coming to all of the performances anyway, I came to that. I enjoyed the church and what Pastor Barry stands for, with what he does. So I was all for it. I just say I was all for it, just putting it out there, and we have to silence the violence. Just knowing it's something out here that's able to help these families. If we could just help somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you feel good if we could just help somebody, and I don't know. I just been going to them ever since. I don't know, every one of them. I don't think I've missed one.
Mm. Yeah, I think the last one was the Million Children March.
I know we did something last year. We did something at we marched to, no, we didn't march. We drove the march.
Oh, okay.
We drove the march down the street to another church.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't remember the name of the church. And we drove it. I think the church was on Van Dyke. So instead of marching, we drove because of COVID. We drove the march. And we held our posters outside of our windows.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we did something again at River Rouge Park.
Yeah, that was last summer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. We did that. I think it was in August. I don't know, July or August. We did a march then. So this will be the first one back at the church.
Mm-hmm.
The old, the way we did before, we walk up Lafayette to, what is that, Van Dyke, I think. And then we go down we make that left and go down to that side street. I just can't remember what the name of that side street is. And we come back towards the church.
So Pastor Barry said that it was going to be 1.5 miles.
That just might be. That just might be.
1.5 miles march. The rally starts at 10 o'clock. So whoever's watching, make sure you pull up, and it will start on time. It will be at 10 o'clock. And if you're late, I don't know where you're going to park, because I think the boulevard is going to be blocked up, right?
Right. You got to get there early and get you a good parking spot.
Yeah, or you're not going to be able to get there.
Well, you're going to be a walking somebody plus marching.
You're going to be walking and marching. The
Yes.
rally will start promptly at 10 o'clock at Church of the Messiah. And that is, what is that, the 4th, right?
Yes, June 4th.
June 4th, Saturday, June 4th. So that's next Saturday, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. Meet us at Church of the Messiah. Church of the Messiah, Detroit, with Pastor Barry right on the corner of East Grand Boulevard and Lafayette. And we will honor those who have lost their lives due to gun violence.
Yes.
We are going to shift gears a little bit. Before we close out, I'm going to play the video, and then we're going to close. But before that, you want to give out your information or how people can reach you? Anybody? Mm-hmm. I know Sherry be low key. You want to give your?
Oh, you can always reach me at Church of the Messiah. Just ask for Sherry Scott. Sherry Griffin Scott.
Just pull up at Church of the Messiah. Sherry be there somewhere, or not far.
I won't be far.
She won't be far. So, Byron, you want to give your information out?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm not much of a thing, but like, if people want to contact me for some reason, I'm always happy to talk. I just love to hear people's stories. Everybody has a story, and I'm a storyteller. And if you want to reach me, just Byron, Byron, Goggin, Goggin. Just do a Google search for me, and there's only 3 of me in the world, and I'll be easy to find. And you can just hit my website there, and all my contact information is there, and the kind of stuff that I do. So, yeah, and I'll be looking forward to hopefully people seeing this documentary in September.
Yeah. So let's talk a little more about the documentary.
Yeah, so I'm in the middle of producing. I'm coming to the close now. It's going to be about an hour and 40 minutes long. It's a documentary. It's more about like how we got to this place. It's not just a shocking stuff. Like, it's how we got here and searching for answers how to get out. And I don't know still searching for the answers to get out. I think the biggest clue that we have right now is we have to look to ourselves and look to our communities and look to young people, right, who are out there doing the work like you. And there's so much work to be done. And the first step is things like the march. And I hope to see as many people as we can there. I think you're going to show a little clip. I think it really says a lot about what's going on. This is a clip from a kid that we met in the streets. And this is his perspective of how it is. And it's scary, it's shocking, it's eye-opening, but it's also, some people say, not surprising. So with that, there you go.
Yeah. And you produced it, right?
Well, I'm one of a couple people. Charlie LaDuff, he has helped produce it. I've produced it. There's been about 3 of us. Vanessa DeGarmo, she's produced it, and so I'm the editor, and I've kind of taken everybody's work and like I'm crushing it all into the documentary itself. So I kind of do the finishing part of it all.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. All right, y'all. So thank you again for joining me, and I will see y'all on Saturday. Next Saturday, not this Saturday, but next Saturday.
Yeah, I hope you stick around and check this out. I think it's pretty compelling.
Yeah, so I'm going to play this and then we will end.
All right.
Listen to the life he's living. He's telling you.
You can get robbed and killed at the bus stop. That obviously shows you ain't got much to possess at the time. You know, you just probably got some nice shoes on at the bus stop and you can get robbed for that because people are dangerous. It's not a way of, it's not a why. It is what it is.
Wasn't there used to be a code? No kids?
Code don't exist anymore. Just people don't have respect for them type of things. You know, if they can't get, and people feel like if they can't get you, they can get somebody else close to you or something. And that's due diligence. That's more of a cause to show you that, you know, it's no code and we not playing with you.
Well, you're telling me now we are hunting your kids.
For the most part, anything happens. If you with your kids at the time, and yes, there's no respect towards that.
Since I came on the job, I've seen 8-year-olds shooting guns and shooting people. You know, you see the parents brandishing guns around their kids, teaching their kids how to handle these guns. In the suburbs and in the city, we have too many guns out here and too many opportunities to obtain these guns. And these kids are using these guns like never before.
500 kids been shot in Detroit the last 6 years. You're 10 times more likely to be shot as a kid in Detroit than in America. Surprise you?
Yes, but it's a lot of kids out here, 14, 15 on Instagram, Facebook, uploading guns, uploading assault rifles that us grown folks don't even have. And it makes you wonder how they get their hands on it. So the kids is resourceful these days.
You hear these kids say, look, I'd rather get caught with one than without one. We gotta change that mentality. People are afraid. These kids are afraid. They're not just toting guns because it's a fashion statement. They're toting guns because they are afraid of dying out here in the streets.
A random situation can cost you your life. Just walking into the store, not even having a plan, and a bump a look can have a gun in your face. Have somebody chasing you out the store, shooting at you. So yeah, I got a gun because everybody else have a gun.
And guess who's getting the street justice out here? It's your juveniles. It's people under 17 years of age. And they're becoming the victims too, because nobody cares.
Dude, you're a baller. Do you really think they're gonna be able to get guns out of your hands?
No.